As an entertainment attorney of 9 years, I do a lot of copyright law. I litigate, I register, I do all the things. So copyright questions are super common, and I thought I would cover the 5 most essential things that music producers and artists need to know. So you can just rest assured on what you need to do. Let's start with number 5. We'll go in reverse order, right? So from least to most important, 5 just being the basics of what's copyright. You need to know this. Copyright is the legal protection that's granted when you make a thing. When you make a creative thing, you put pen to paper, you record a voice memo, you record a song, you record a video. Anytime you create and put a creative into a tangible medium, you have automatic copyright pursuant to the US Copyright Act. That's great. But there's more to it. You get exclusive rights with your copyright protection. So that's going to be rights to reproduce, right? To make copies of, to distribute, right? To put it on music platforms, to sell it, to make CDs. But then also to make what are called derivative works. So to make additional things from the thing you made. So for example, remixes. You still have copyright in those new versions because they were based on your copyrighted song. So number 5, what's copyright? It's just the thing that you made that you put into a tangible form. Number 4, we're going to talk about, well, what is copyright not? And I say it that way because a lot of people confuse trademark with copyright. They are not the same thing. So I'm going to give you a little clarification. So when we talk about copyright is, of course, just a form of intellectual property. So is trademark. The copyright is the thing that protects the stuff that you make, right? Books, movies, songs, and then you can, again, as we just discussed, you have the exclusive rights to reproduce, to make copies, to make money. No one else can make money from your stuff. You get that Smeagol syndrome. It's your thing. So, and then on the flip side, the trademark protects the logo. Okay, it's the logo, it's the name, it's the brand. And the reason why we have a separate area of law to protect this stuff is because this is, the valuable thing that makes the goods that you sell, like music, like your merchandise, and your services, right, as a music producer, as a singer. It's what makes it valuable, right? So if it's Michael Jackson on a song versus someone who we don't really know, there's going to be a different value based on just the name. So that's why we have to distinguish. There is a difference between copyright, trademark. Trademark identifies the source of the service or the good. Number 4, in copyright is not trademark. Trademark goes to brand identity and making sure that other people don't use that name, that logo, right? Because they would dilute it. So number 3, when it comes to the most essential things that you need to know about copyright as an artist, as a producer, you need to know why you need to register copyright. Because we just went through it and you're like, well, KRYSTLE, you said I have automatic copyright as soon as I make the song. That's true, but you still need to copyright your creative work with the US Copyright Office, and here's why. When you copyright, A, you get a piece of paper that officially says you made it, you own it. And you need that piece of paper because next, it's going to allow you to go to court. So if, John comes along and steals your song, samples your song without your authorization, then you can sue him. And before you can sue him, the court's going to say, well, we need to see proof that you own the song. That proof is the copyright certificate. It's also going to give you additional remedies. So when you sue, you can ask for what are called statutory damages. So you get extra money, which is really important. Okay, so you want to make sure you actually copyright your stuff. But then also, this is more of a nuanced one. It gives you global protection. Under the Bern Convention, it basically is an agreement between the US Copyright Office and a bunch of other countries that signed on. And so as a copyright owner, it allows you to go and enforce that copyright in other countries that have signed on to that Bern Convention. So there's all these great things that come from actually filing, and the good news is that it's really not that expensive. I think it's like $50 to file a copyright. Actually, it went up a little bit. I think it's 65 now. So the point just being, and you're not just filing one song at a time. You can copyright your entire album as one filing. So please make sure you're doing this as part of your process as soon as you are making the work and at, the very latest when you release it. Number 2, when it comes to the most essential things that you need to know about copyright, let's talk about collaborations. When you collaborate with someone else and you both are like in the studio and you're, throwing down ideas for beats and chords and melodies, you both have copyright claims in the music, right? Because remember the basic one we just went over. As soon as you make it, you own it. So the two people, you and your collaborator, both have copyright ownership in the music. And under copyright law, even if you talk about it and you both agree, hey, one of the collaborators is assigning ownership to the other. Even if you say it verbally, it's not enforceable under the law unless you put it in a signed writing. So since that's the case, that's why you got to do contracts with your collaborators. And it's just a collaboration agreement. It's nothing too crazy, but you absolutely need to make sure you have a contract, which then brings me to the number one most essential thing that you need to know when it comes to copyright and being an artist and music producer. Before I get to that, make sure you like this video if you are finding it helpful. I release videos every single week to help you with your music career. So number one, sampling. When it comes to sampling, we're talking about taking something from someone else's song. So you're like, oh my gosh, I really loved this particular vocal and I want to sample it. We hear this in, Kanye's music all the time. He loves to sample. And so in order to do that, you have to get a license or you have to buy it. There's a number of steps you have to go through in order to sample legally, because if you don't, guess what? You stole it, or they have a claim that you stole it. It's copyright infringement. And then remember, going back, the other person's going to go to court, sue you. They're going to ask for damages, and they're going to likely be able to get more than their actual base damages if they had the copyright registration timely and they did all the things. So when it comes to sampling, which is actually very common, if you are going to sample without getting proper licenses, sample at your own risk. But I do have videos on this channel talking about how to legally protect yourself when it comes to doing cover songs and sampling. I got you covered. So the walk away gavel moment is protect yourself. Make sure that you actually copyright your music with the US Copyright Office, and you will thank yourself later for doing that.